Hey everybody, welcome to the Global Veg Fest. Global Veg Fest 3, here we are, Saturday, March 19th, 2022. And I am joining you from a lovely sunny spring day in Bristol in the UK, the home of VegfestUK. And we are absolutely thrilled to be bringing some vegan news and some inspiration, some education, some great panels to you all weekend. Indeed, you can find all of this in the programme if you're looking at this later on. There's all these talks in the event programme. It's got the whole lot. You can watch it all through the event programme. You can find that on vegfest.co.uk/Global Vegfest. So, today, here we are, and we are going to be having a fabulous interview with a guest of ours who I'm going to introduce very shortly from the world of live music. VegFest has a tradition going back 20 years, really, when we started. I think it's fair to say we put the rock and roll into the vegan lifestyle back in 2003 with our first event. Went from there, live rock festivals all over the place in Bristol, huge, great occasions. Sometimes indeed 25,000 people over 3 days was our record this time 10 years ago when we had an outdoor festival in Bristol. So we always had a really strong tradition of rock and roll. I'm pretty much rock and roll all over, and it's a really important part of it. I know a huge amount of people's lives all over the world. It's a common language, and it's one that's really important to many, many, many of us. And on that note, I am absolutely thrilled to be welcoming our guest today, who is a genuine vegan animal rights musician, Vegan Queen V. Jen Armstrong joining us from a very sunny looking summer or other. Jen, welcome.
Thank you, Tim. It's an absolute pleasure to be here.
And whereabouts are we, as it happens, being here?
I know it looks like I'm in Spain or somewhere, but it's actually it's the Isle of Lewis in the Outer Hebrides in Scotland.
Oh, wow.
And the sun has joined me today.
What brings you to the Isle of Lewis in sunny Scotland?
Well, believe it or not, there is an incredible recording studio here, which is why I'm here recording my album. Woo!
Okay, so would that lead me to perhaps surmise that you have some new material on the horizon?
Yeah, ba 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 ba, and it sounded absolutely epic. This place, it's like a some sort of heaven, musical heaven. Just incredible to work in this place. That you can see the sea from the studio. It's great.
Jen, I've got a little funny story actually. Is we went up to Scotland in 1988 with our band to record right at the tip of Scotland. Yeah, there was a studio up there by a friend of ours called Johnny Fatts, who's sadly no longer with us. And I'd recently been drafted into the band on rhythm guitar. We went up to record my pal's album. And after our first session, the producer there, and again, this wonderful studio in Scotland, right at the tip, right up on Dunet's Head, he turned around and he said, "You are the worst rhythm guitarist that I've ever had in my studio." And it's like, "Oh God, am I that bad?" It's like, "Yeah."
Oh, mate.
But there you go. That was my little anecdote from studios. But this is actually more about you, Jen, not about my.
I enjoyed that story, and I feel quite sorry.
But you go back actually with us right back to, and I should just mention at this point, viewers, stay with us because whilst we have a little chat, we do actually have some music at the end of this little 15 minutes, don't we?
We do. My debut single from this first album that I'm releasing is going to be out tomorrow, and we get to hear it today.
Okay, so here we go. We have got a new single that we're going to be playing in probably about 10 minutes time or so, Dominion.
Yes.
So this is available. It's out on Bandcamp. You can go to Vegan Queen V. You can find the single and you can download it. And is there a fee? Do you pay for it?
I think Bandcamp, yeah, you set a fee, don't you? Or maybe it can be a donation thing. Okay. I just want the music to get out there and for people to love it and to use it themselves in their own sort of activism work. So whatever works, for them works for me.
Well, I know, first time we heard you, Jen, was back, I think it was 2018 when we had the Effective Factor in Brighton. I think it's 2018. It might even have been 2017.
Sometime around then.
2018, I believe. Yeah, there you go. It's so long ago now. It seems almost like another lifetime. But you actually won that, and that was a talent contest, as it were. It was a sort of musical vegan activists contest. So we had a number of entries, and you came to the fore, and I can remember the song. I still got the riff in my head. A very powerful piano tune, actually. A very haunting song. So. But you've been writing vegan activist songs for sort of, a good few years now, isn't it?
Yeah, I've been a songwriter for as long as I can remember, really, and now I do it professionally as well. And when I went vegan, I naturally just started writing songs for the animals and about the animals, because as most people watching this will know, like, their lives are just absolutely horrific. And I had no idea, so it was a big shock for me. And I think writing animal rights songs has actually been quite cathartic for me, and it's been a good way to get out those emotions, because you have to deal with it somehow, and it's quite difficult for people, I think
it helps people too, listening, to process those emotions too, because
I hope so.
It's a very difficult genre, without a doubt. The vegan activist song genre is a really difficult. There's many have tried. And some have been appalling, and most have been, good attempts. But it's a very difficult genre. But I've always been impressed by your work, Jen. It's always
Thanks, Tim.
Caught a mood. There's one or two other very talented songwriters we've seen too recently in the vegan genre. Ruby Moss springs to mind. Ruby Moss is in Dublin. Still at school, actually, highly performing it. And Barbara Helen, who we had on, I think at our last Global Veg Fest, Barbara Helen, I maybe interviewed her for...
She's brilliant.
For our magazine. Barbara writes some really good stuff. So, but tell us about this album then. So you've been writing a new album, you've got a new album. What's going on here?
Yeah, well, it's half of the songs are animal rights songs, in that I've learned about the lives of these animals, and I was inspired to write different songs, different melodies, different lyrics, but it's all about sort of their suffering and our role in that to a certain degree. But then I realised over the past couple of years, and especially the last 6 months, I've realised that it's no good just talking about the problems. And yes, people need to know the truth, they really do. But also they need the solutions, and they need the positivity and the empowerment to know, for them to know that they are powerful, and their individual choices make huge differences in this world. So it's a bit of a mix now, because I realise, as I say, we need the truth. The truth needs to come out, but we need to sort of move forward to getting, animal enslavement eradicated. It's a thing of the past. We need those positive messages as well.
Yeah, it's a big deal, isn't it? And we've been doing this because we've been doing events and festivals, and particularly, obviously live events. We've always had to have big uplifting. We are uplifting by nature. Mention, it's sort of rock and roll. It's a genre that is by nature uplifting. It's an enjoyable, fun, pretty self-empowering kind of ethos there. Especially coming from that late 60s psychedelic revolution, and of course the punk revolution in the 70s when I was sort of a teenager, and then the whole acid house thing in the 80s. There's a huge, massive, big whole wave of, it is a very powerful genre to uplift and to change. It's an instrument of change. When I think about the sort of when the 80s dance music, and that was at the time when things like the Berlin Wall came down, a whole massive change of culture in the whole world at that time. Really literally broke through barriers that have been there for a long time.
Yes.
And just mentioning the live events, are you going to be back? Obviously the last 2 years have been very tricky because there's been no live events, and even if you've been in the studio and been able to create and such, live events are still such a a lifeline and a fuel for music and creative sort of the creative process, would you say? How much are you looking forward to getting back to?
Oh, how long's a piece of string, Tim? No, it's not only am I excited because there's been less live music the last couple of years, but I've got a completely different perspective on live shows now. And as I was speaking to Pete just before we went live, now really all I want to do is do live stuff and interact with people in a physically live environment, because there's so much like magic in that, and there's so much power in that. I love connecting online, and like being online is opens up so many doors and so many opportunities for connections you would never normally make. But live is where it's at for sure. And part of this empowerment and raising sort of like good vibrations, high vibrations. I want to be out like playing for people and trying to make a difference that way.
Got any gigs signed up then? You kicking? You got anything?
Yeah, so we didn't talk about it just before, but I'm actually doing a UK album tour.
Oh, right.
And I'm just this week is going to be getting the actual schedule where I'm going to be.
Oh,
and the idea is I'm going to be sharing my album, either solo or with the band, and I'm going to have somebody from the local area to open up for me who has a similar ethic in terms of animal ethics and human rights ethics, and what we're here to do, what we're doing, how can we be better people, that sort of thing. But at the same venue, I'm going to have a day of happiness, which is something I've started up myself, a live event once a month in my local community, and it's going to be bringing people together in the daytime before the music for well-being, like mental and physical well-being, like yoga, meditation. Qigong is something we've started doing, and which is a type of Tai Chi. We had sound healing the other day with Arachai, who's an amazing didgeridoo player and handpan player. People just lying down and sort of like experience the musical vibrations and being in that space. Because I think there's something very powerful about people coming together and being happy together. Because then that ripples out. Because you see, Tim, happy people don't hurt other people, and happy people don't hurt animals. So we need to make people happy to liberate everyone.
I think we've really missed that live events. We were talking earlier in our earlier show about our London event that's coming up in November. So we're first time back to live events after what will be 3 years, an absence of 3 years. There's an invite for you, by the way.
Yes, please.
Live music, it's in the diary. 12th, 13th November 22. We'll have a live, at Olympia in London. So we'll have a live music. We'll have some comedy. We'll have like art exhibition. We'll have authors, book readings, and we'll have some photography, wildlife photography exhibitions. There's quite a lot of arts influence, but particularly underpinning it will be live music. So there's your invite, Jen. Put that in the diary, and
it's in the diary, Tim.
And there's such a thirst, I think, and a hunger again to just that is to just come back out and join up again. Because you're right, there's real magic, and there's a real vibe, there's a real essence of people coming together, especially, and it's interesting. That this has always caught people out. People think who are perhaps not vegan, they think, a bunch of vegans. It's like, actually, a bunch of vegans come together. They are. There's happy, and there's a vibe, and there's a sense of collectiveness and purpose, and a sense of, this is a real attempt now to create a fair and just world that includes animals and includes humans, and does challenge those systems and challenges those institutions, and tries to create, not just point out problems that exist there, but to try and create environments that don't perpetuate those issues, but also replace them with really positive aspects that we can all kind of, adhere to and think, yeah, you know what, that's great. So when you do get a good event, a vegan event, and there are a lot of them, and I know you'll be playing at a few of them too, there is a really good sense of collective there. And that's something I think the vegan community particularly has missed this last 2 years, is that sense of, community.
Yeah.
So that's something we're all looking forward to. So Jen, before we come on to your new single, tell us about it. What is it? What's happening here?
So this is the first single off the new album, and it's called Dominion. And it opens the album with the statement that we are powerful beings, but on the course that we're on at the moment, we aren't using that power in the way that we should be. And it's actually been, it's damaging our world, and it's damaging us, it's damaging the animals, it's damaging nature. But we need to, we have this power. So I feel that once people are empowered with this knowledge, that it is all down to their individual choices. It's not about, it is about the collective, but what's the collective made up of? It's made up of the individuals. Sure. And you are very, very powerful. And Dominion is that message that here we are, this is our planet, we've got dominion over it, but we need to do better.
And do you think, there's a current world situation right now that's kind of hanging over us all as really challenging? We're still within COVID. We're still living in COVID times. 2 years on, we've still got COVID everywhere. We've also got this sort of threat of war now. We've got a whole war going on in Europe. We've obviously still got wars going on in a number of other places in the world. How realistic is this? How can we achieve what we need to achieve? Do you think we can do it? Do you think we can establish a world whereby we no longer use animals as part of our pleasure or part of our resources?
Yeah, absolutely. We just need to hold that world, and it's closer than you think, I think. Because it's all about the individual person.
And what would be your message to other activists right now? We've got people, I think, probably feeling still isolated, maybe quite not quite sure where to go with this. What to put their energies into.
Yeah.
What do you think? What's your say there?
I think community is the key for very many different reasons. You can accomplish more as a team. You are with like-minded people, so you've got people to talk to, because it's a hard world. Like, it's a very harsh reality that we're sort of living in, and it's good to talk to people who understand. So connect with your local vegan community, or create your own if there isn't one. Like, I've been the starter of many different groups, because it just needs to happen. And there are other people. There are so many other people out there, but they don't necessarily. Maybe they're in the same position as you, and you think you're alone, but actually you're not. But you just need to connect up, and we do events. That's why we do events, to come together. If talking to the public is your thing, get out on the street with some leaflets, or with some foods that you made or bought from Tesco or whatever, just vegan food, just to show the public what is available now. There's just so many different, whatever your thing is, don't be afraid. Now is the time to go for it, to speak up for the animals, to speak up for yourself, speak up for other people. Like, you've got your voice, and like, you're one in 7 billion. That's crazy how unique you are. So whatever your truth is, like, just share it. Go for it. Come and see me on my UK tour.
I like that. Start your own group. That's a really good idea, actually. Just start your own thing. If you're feeling a bit isolated, why don't you start your own thing? You can do that online.
You have to. You just have to.
With some artistic creation. And again, I would open up. I would invite artists and vegan artists, especially, to sort of get in touch and such. We actually had an article in our online magazine, Force of Vegan, about in our current issue, issue 4, which is out about now online. You can access it at vegfest.co.uk/forceofvegan. It's our online magazine. It has specifically an article written about starting your own group as it happens. So wherever you are in the world, but music is a fabulous way of kind of keeping in touch, because music really does, transcend a lot of different barriers and such like. It's a universal language. It's a very powerful language, and especially when in the hands of people who can produce that and transform that, create a spark and emotion into a really powerful bit of music. So, Jen, we're going to go out on your single, so we're not going to come back afterwards. We shall leave people with that. So before we go into your single, is there anything you just want to add? Apart from the fact I think people can get this on Bandcamp. So Bandcamp's the key place to go, isn't it? Bandcamp, Vegan
Yes.
Queen V. You can, you've got a Facebook and a Twitter and an Instagram and that kind of thing, is it?
Yes, and my website is a great place as well, which is veganqueenv.com. And at the moment, I'm doing my crowdfunding for my album, which is, in fact, why I'm here in this studio. And that is veganqueenv.com/crowdfunding. So that's a great place. Yes, Pete, on the website there. There it is.
Okay, so yeah. Crowdfunder. We didn't know that. So if you're paying attention and you're listening, there's crowdfunder. If you want to support Jen with this, there's crowdfunder going veganqueenv.com.
Yeah. Yes, and I'll be traveling the UK this summer. So if you've got like an event space you'd love to use for my album tour and also Happiness Day, if that's something that speaks to you, then please get involved. Send me a message.
I think we could do with a bit of happiness. I don't think anybody will be arguing with that right now. There's a bit of need for some happiness, and if you want to spread a bit of happiness, I can't think of a better way than create a happy day. That's fabulous. Right, well, look, thanks for joining us. So just before we go, is there anything you just want to just wrap up with before we play out with your new single?
Yes, well, Tim, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. And people watching, thank you for watching, and continue to enjoy this amazing online event. And yeah, here is my single, Dominion, which is out tomorrow. There'll be an amazing video uploaded, I think 3:33 p.m. tomorrow.
Lovely. All right, Chad, thanks very much. Good luck with everything. We'll see you in November, if not before.
Nice one, Tim. Thank you.
Did you drop me on my head? Was the damage when I fell down the stairs? 'Cause there's something I can't get my tiny little mind around. How come only I see the fear and pain in their eyes? See the value of their life comparable to yours and mine.